Are we done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, okay, great. You want to go first? So the first question is, what is the first thing you do as the project manager?
There are so many projects.
Yeah.
The requirements were not well covered, and stakeholders did not get along.
Okay. Let's just take turn. Let's take turn. I think Kemi wants to go first, right?
Did not agree with the PDA.
Kemi.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. Please, you can go on now. Kemi.
Okay, requirements were not well captured. The customer's expectations, stakeholders were not carried along. So it's going to be getting my
Echoing now.
stakeholders. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better. Please go on.
Okay. Capturing my requirements and making sure that the expectations of my stakeholders are well captured before I even think of gathering my make sure I tackle my stakeholders capture their trust.
Okay. I'm not sure I get what Kemi was trying to say. I guess the network was broken. I guess from my side though. Well,
Yeah, it was echoing.
Yes, same from here. I didn't
quite get that.
the
Yeah.
what she was saying. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Maybe let's hear Mr. Day. Yeah, I think you have a.
No, I will
Yeah, let's hear.
fly on the wall here because I'm not. You know, should I pass because I'm not
Okay, yeah,
PM?
not a problem.
Although I have some.
Things to chip in.
Yeah. Okay.
Great, great.
So
Yeah, Osiki.
yeah,
Okay.
honestly, is that the first thing I want to do here is to, because it doesn't seem that they went through the proper initiating process for this project. Is missing, there is TM that is missing, the organizational change management seems to be missing. So the very first thing I will do is just to press a reset. Yes, you said that there is billions of dollars that has been spent, but this is not going to go anywhere. So I want to see some of the documentations for the initiation of the project to see what is the problem they are trying to solve. Because it doesn't appear that there is a clear-cut definition of the problem. So it doesn't appear there is a communication to the people. So there was no buy-in. So all those loopholes has to be first plugged in. That is where I'm going to start with from my own experience.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Osiki, you want to go?
Yeah, I would say the business case. The first thing I want to do is to call up the business case. as a new person there to understand what was contained in the business case. So if I have that, you will now see like the stakeholders that signed off those documents, and now maybe further engage them to know what exactly informed their decision. By as a one-on-one, yes, you've seen it on paper, but you want to have a direct communication with them to ascertain what actually went wrong, you know.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine, though. So this is my answer actually. Although they are all right. Yeah. So the first thing I want to do for me was assessment. One is assessment to why project failed, to establish what should have been done differently. Because if you don't understand why they are not moving, it's possible as the new project manager to run into the same issue. And to be able to do that, you need to have more like a war meeting with Dotun, the project team, and the other team leads. You need to be able to understand what they've been doing. The aim of this meeting is to ask why and what has been done. Just ask them why. Why are the objective not clear? Because even for other, I think the second or third paragraph was saying something about even other regions were implementing something that were not. So it's more like there was no clear cut, just like Mr. Ade said, there was no clear cut documentation on what should be done. The specification were not so spelled out. So eventually people will do what is good for them, if that is not done. Number two is why aren't users getting involved in the project, as they progress? Because they actually mentioned something that they had a meeting with them. It could be that while they were meeting with them, they were trying to impose. Dotun as the project manager now, was it that Dotun was trying to impose, his own will to over what other people have as contribution, during the meetings? What actually happened? Or could it be that people, you're not getting their buy-in, but because the guy at the top said, okay, let's go ahead, and you're just dancing to that and you're forcing the will. Don't forget that this is an MD. So it's also possible that the order came from the MD, and whether you like it or not, you need to abide, by it. So for me, that is the first thing I want to do. I want to make sure that I understand this very well. You understand? Hello? Yeah, so for me, that is the first thing I want to do. And I think we are all on the same page on this. Yeah. Can you want something? We are not hearing you. It seems your network is not too good.
The next one.
Yeah. So don't worry. This is the first review. Perhaps we can later do more extensive one, of this case study. So I'm just going to go to the next what's it called? Next question. Yeah. So the next question is, what are the project management issues in this case study? And what would you need to put in place to ensure these issues don't arise again? What are the project management issues that we have seen so far? You said, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. But now let's go down to, as project managers now, what are the things that we think we'll do if you are the new project manager? What are project management issues?
Okay, I think to put a governance around the project delivery, because if the communication was well defined, assuming you have a standardized template, so to speak. So the information coming from the other regions or other countries, you could maybe at a glance look at the trend, so to speak. From the trend, there can be consistency, and if there are deviations, you can be able to flag it. Because for him to say what he heard is different from what the other guys were reporting from the region becomes very worrisome.
Great. Who wants to go next?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, Timmy.
Can you hear me now?
Kemi, okay, please go on.
Hello.
Kemi, we are not hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, you can go on now, Kemi.
Okay. Second question. The project has one of them is requiring not got their expectations right and stakeholders' expectations.
Okay.
Project you must get user satisfaction. So the stakeholders are not satisfied. Their expectations are not well captured. Okay, that's one of the things in that project. That's addressed. So know the
Kemi,
you can't hear me, right?
it's breaking. It's breaking. Funny enough, anytime you ask, people can hear you. It's be clear.
I'm not yes.
Yeah, okay, who wants to go next?
Yeah, I would like to make a contribution.
Okay, great. You can hear you now.
At last, I can be heard.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, quickly, I want to first speak to the first question. I was trying to actually make a contribution, but I noticed no one is hearing me.
Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, is Kemi still talking?
I think you can unmute your microphone.
Somebody.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I am.
Springer, can you please mute everyone? So that,
Okay, I'm muting other people. Okay, please, Mr. Larry, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So what I think is also an issue, or what I would do first if I am to take over that project is just as one of the contributors said earlier, is to first take up the business case. You know, because before we decide to take on a new business, or we decide to bring in innovation, or we decide to take up any action that is geared towards expanding our business, we need to be able to document it. We need to be able to say this is where we were before, this is what we are doing differently, and this is what we intend to achieve, putting the team together and overhauling the infrastructure. So I think that's the first document I want to pick and look at, and then I can now call up a project meeting to ask the project managers where we actually got it wrong. Because if you look at the part that says the product is actually different, also that's actually the product from different region is completely different. So that's the specification rather of the product procured in Ghana were completely different from those procured from other regions. So that's actually worrisome. So we need to look at the document to know where we got it wrong, and then we can now have a meeting on how we can move forward. So that's my contribution to the first one. So the second one of the things I also think is a major issue is the reporting line. I feel there is an issue with the reporting line for the project managers. So from the different region, I would expect that we'll have a project management office where we report every activity or every the business of each of the region too. So which would be coordinated by, if not the MD or someone, at least a point where we know that, yeah, we all submit our reports. So I think that's the first thing I would like to, look at. In my opinion, that's where I will first want to take the issue from, evaluate the report coming in there, and then see how we can move forward from there. So that's my contribution to the second question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, who wants to go next? I get that, Suji. Okay. Osuji, you can mute yourself now. Osuji, you can mute yourself and continue. Oh.
You are still on mute, please.
Sorry, Osuji, you can continue. You can. Sorry. Okay, Osuji, so you can mute yourself now, so you can listen to you. Thanks.
Are you expecting me?
Yes, we're waiting for you. Don't you want to say something earlier?
No. I've said something on the second question too when I talked about communication, setting up a framework, a governance framework. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah. Any other person would like to say something on this?
One thing I will add, which is part of what I said for the first question, and that's part of the project management issues I see here, is the at least to add change management, because there are lots of changes that is expected to have come through that the 90% of the workforce is not on board with. So, and that ties to what I think you said about communication, because that's one of the creating the awareness for the change and communicating it appropriately so that everyone is on board. Most projects that involve change fails when nobody is what is in it for him or her. So
this time,
yeah.
Okay, then you can just mute your welcome. You can just unmute you now. Then if you can hear us, you don't need to worry. Just listen. Maybe perhaps we are discussing the next question. You can join. You can contribute. Okay, yeah. So we are all right. So again, I'm just going to. As you can see on my screen, this was my answer to it. Project not properly scoped, or scope not properly documented, which also portrays, what we have been talking about: documentation. The requirement gathering method used could either be faulty or could be skewed to some people, for example, let's say you have 100 people, 20 people support, and because they are powerful people, you skew towards, you tend to do what they want. Because if you look at my number 4, I said for stakeholder management. Because I cannot imagine that about 90% not in support of the project, and we have spent billions of dollars or naira, on that project. So totally unacceptable anyway. So I think the what's it called, the stakeholder management is somehow 40 as well. Also is lack of effective and living project management plan. How come is now that we get to know that what they are doing in one place is in fact it's not in line with what we agreed, or the specification is not the same. Definitely something is wrong, so either they don't have a project management plan, and by project management plan, of course, I mean communication plan, stakeholder management plan, even to cost and everything. They don't, all those plans, they are either they don't have it in place, or they just like mistakes that some of us do. We at the beginning of the project. Hello, Ben. Ben, if you're here, don't worry. If you're hearing us, those of us that are just joining, you don't worry. I'm muting everybody on purpose so that we can hear you. If you want to say anything, you can put comment and the chat, and to let us know so that we can unmute you. So, like as I was saying, one mistake that I have seen that we project managers make sometimes is we build at the initiation of the when we are initiating the project, we build a very robust project management plan. But as we go on in the project, we tend to just abandon that document. It's not a living document. So it's possible that something has happened somewhere and nobody is communicating it. Because in your communication plan, I expect that the even frequency and medium of communication should have been spelled out. But eventually later we abandon that, and those things that's supposed to be binding on everybody has been dumped somewhere. So that's another project management issue that I think is wrong with that. And I won't lie, I believe this is something that I've done like I don't know many times also. Where we just abandon project management plan somewhere, and we just continue doing it, and everybody just carry on. And that thing, because our time is going, is okay. I think team managers were also brought in it. They are not part of the plan. If you look, it was after the survey and everything has been done before Dotun started appointing project team leaders, for each session, each region. So they are not probably not part of the scoping, and this is very, very key, not for us as project managers to, I think what we want to do first, we want to form, even if we cannot form everybody, the whole team, at least people that will be leading each section, we should be able to identify them and carry them along so that we can have their input into it. And the last thing I want to mention is lack of collaboration and poor communication among team members. If there is a good collaboration amongst them, it won't have gotten to this point where after we have spent so much money, the new MD now discover, and after a whole lot has been done, was now when the issue started coming up. These are things that I think are wrong in this. I don't know if anybody is having a contribution to this. Sorry. Hello. Contributions.
I think that captures a couple of things that we've talked about. It really does, and quite comprehensive. Your response.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's 9:02. What do you guys suggest? Should we just call it a ninth year, or should we just finish the case study?
What's the next question? Sorry.
Let's do the next question and wrap it up.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, these are just mitigation. I might share this later with us if we need to. Okay, this is it. What are the things that should be done to keep the PMO alive? I think you might have mentioned some of this as well. And what are the project management methodology? What is project management methodology will you rather adopt as the new project manager? Who want to go first? Okay, so CG, you want to?
Well, for me to keep the PMO alive, one thing is to insist that before any project is goes live or goes active, let there be a governance framework developed by the PMO and adopted by the PMO actually. Because if there's a framework, sorry for the noise in the background.
Yeah, we understand.
So if there's a framework, you will have a lot of how do I say standardization. Because if you are supposed to be having meetings every week, then there will be meetings. If you are supposed to be sending reports every Friday, there should be reports every Fridays. And if in today's world of Scrum, and you want to say, okay, you want to be having, but for how long? I don't know, but you may be having that kind of 15 minutes stand-up session with people to know where they are and all that. So it's all part of it.
Yeah. Thank you, CJ, for that. I think I shared that, as you can see on my screen also. I said what I will propose is, Scrum. Scrum. Hello? Are you seeing my screen?
That's not my manager. Come.
Hello?
I said, excuse me for a moment. I want to talk to my manager.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we can see your screen. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so methodology that I will adopt as you can see on my screen is Scrum Agile, and reason is this helps us to be able to break the project into milestones. That's one. So we can have these sprint backlogs, and maybe in 2 weeks or something we can turn out something. And what would this be able to do is, so because I'm looking at it at how much has been expended before we realize, to the point that the NMD is saying, okay, he's thinking of pulling the plug. If they have adopted Scrum Agile, where they have sprints, and in 2 weeks they turn out something, if that thing is not meeting expectation, we will have known earlier, right? Unlike I think what they are adopting is the waterfall. When I read that case study, I think they were using waterfall, which the Big Bang, what's it called, where you wait till the end of the project before any people see the results. But if it's something that we have been turning out our results, in sprints, we will have been able to limit whatever defects. If something is not working, and if we need to even rework, it will be minimal, and that is one thing I like about it. And just like Osiji also said, sprint allow for this daily stand-up. Even if it's not going to be, since they are not all in one location, if we are going to be having, maybe it's a teleconference call like we have here, where everybody will know what's happening and what is expected of who, on daily basis. I think that will also help us to manage that type of project better. Basically, that's my own input from here. I don't know, Mr. Larry, you want to say something?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's more like you already have the answers, prepared. So I was actually going to suggest the same thing, because one of the things that if you look at the case study very well, one of the major issue that I think um, caused the major, I mean the backdrop was as a result of them not having, you know, collaboration among the team members, among the project managers, basically. Yeah, so one of the things that you want to do with such kind of thing, or to fix such kind of problem, is to have an agile project methodology, where from time to time, say every week, you have sessions together to see what is actually going on from different regions, to see areas of things that you can borrow, ideas that you can borrow, and then bring into your own domain and improve your business, or your project management, so to say. So those are the things that I feel that's needed to anybody taking up this position needs to work on. And also the power given to the project management office also needs to be you know very strong, because one of the things that we've also seen in the field is most project managers wield so much power to the point that we become so autocratic, kind of. Most of your decisions are not informed by a standardized or a framework that is designed by the company. So most decisions are made arbitrarily. So that's one of the things that I feel must have led them to where they were. So one of the things we also want to do is a project management office needs to have a framework which everyone needs to follow. And agile methodology is just the way to go. That's my summation.
Hmm. Okay, thank you very much. Do you still have any contribution? I think our time is fast spent. It won't be a bad idea to just call it a night.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, please.
I just one quick question, and pardon me because I may appear very green here in this question, but I'm just there seems to be a kind of consensus on applying or Scrum Agile methodology, and one of the that is it just possible to get to an environment, to an institution, to an organization that is not agile aware and just keep off an agile project, and then that is going to be successful?
Hmm.
That is my question. So I just go to an environment, probably they have not heard of agile before, and I just said, okay, for this project, I'm adopting Scrum Agile. You are going to spend the first 6 months teaching them about Agile. So that is just the way I'm looking at it because of my own.
Okay.
And is it just possible to get an environment?
Okay. Thank you for that question. I don't know if anybody wants to react to that here first. Okay. All right. So to me, one is the question says, well, the first the question that prelude this one, ask that as the new PMO, head of PMO, what will you be able to do to standardize the PMO? So the first thing you want to notice that is that something is wrong with the waterfall they've been using. No, so if something is wrong with that, with the level of things that is on ground, it's better. Of course, you should start from orientating the people, changing the mindset of the people, educating them. You cannot just bring it. Of course, if you just bring in agile, hey, this is where we are going, there's tendency that you fall into the same gully as the two. Yeah, so you want to let them know why you are bringing in agile. You want to probably educate them on how agile work and what are the benefits, so that you can gain the buy-in. And once that is done, that is the first thing. In fact, if you don't have that, you don't even have a PMO. you know, and that thing you, aside from agile that you've been talking about, and that thing you want to be sure that you have is, for example, you know, you've been talking about documentation. We don't even know whether they don't even have that in place. You know, so those are the changes you want to bring in. You want to change the mindset of the people. You want to make sure that they're actually doing things that are project management compliance in quotes. You know, so that is why we mention agile. Of course, you cannot just come into a new environment and just say, oh, the agile is the new way. We are just going agile without people knowing what what agile is. So probably you want to first educate them. You know, make sure they understand that and why that is better than the waterfall actually. Okay, you want to
Come in.
yeah, please.
Hello, can I come in?
Please, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's a very fantastic question because I've actually experienced, I've worked in a team where I actually experienced this, and I think this is how I navigated through it's not an issue really, but it's just that the background that I have is working with project managers who embrace agile, you know, but going into an environment where it is actually waterfall all the way, it was quite difficult, but this is how I navigated. The first thing I did was to first look at their methodology of deploying any project in that office. And I realized that most of the projects that they developed or they deploy are projects that they have crop of teams. They have about 5 project managers. So they have different, so these project managers have different teams that they work with that have been trusted on how they deploy any solution or any module that is given to them. That they don't need anyone to watch over their shoulders. So they give it to them and they leave them to work on it, and they come back, and by the time they're coming back, their product is already completely done. So what I've noticed, so with that, I had to work with them for a while and then see how we can balance the two. Use waterfall for some and then use agile for some. So what do I mean? So that when I developed my project plan, what I did was that some activities actually, you know, embrace waterfall, and I made it clear to them that okay, we're going to use this to develop, to get to this stage. But the moment you get it to this stage, this is what we're going to be doing moving forward. We're going to be having every Monday sprints. Every Monday, everybody comes together. We discuss what we're going to achieve on that project, and we are all on the same page. And then before the end of the project, also we switch to waterfall. So it's more like we balanced it. So play a bit on the waterfall and play a bit on the agile. And at the point in time, we got to a point where everybody embraced the Monday sprints. So gradually, I didn't even have to tell them. Gradually, agile took over. So it's more like I just play on the intelligence of these project managers without forcing my way through. So I embrace some of theirs and then bring in my own ideas a little, and then we're able to balance it. And before you know it, they didn't even know they've embraced it organization-wide. But that was how it happened in my own case.
Yeah, wow, that's a very good.
Yeah, I think thank you for that. Yeah, that clears it in my mind and makes it much more realistic, because you get an organization that is SDLC and you said, okay, I'm taking over, so we are going Scrum Agile. You are going to swim against the tide. So now, that is different.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's been a good use of time. But with the next meeting is in 2 weeks' time. So I guess before then we will try and find a way of, maybe I should do a step-by-step documentation of how people should join and what they should do, once they join the meeting, so that immediately you join the meeting, you don't start talking, just listen first. Perhaps I will just mute everybody as they are joining. So I'll do that, or sometimes share in the group, so that next meeting will be more productive, than this. Thank you very, very much. I think it's been a good one. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Well done, guys. I think we gave it our best despite the hiccups.
Yeah, sure.
And I suggest that we repeat today's presentation because we didn't go anywhere with that. So I don't think we need to rush to the next item. Let's still repeat today's presentation for cybersecurity. That's my suggestion. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we still put everything.
Okay, good, good. Maybe we can have him in 2 weeks' time then, or when do we think we should do? Or maybe straight open to the house. I've told him already that we are going to reschedule him. I think he's
Yeah,
having issue joining back, so I told him we are going to reschedule him. Of course, so
Yes.
is it in Lagos?
And I think
yeah, I think it's in Lagos.
because this is our first trial run, so we get prepared next time. So you can just start off next time and then push everything 2 weeks down the line like that, so that
Yeah.
he has prepared, and then the other fellow will still have additional 2 more weeks to prepare,
Prepare.
and then that gives him more time to prepare too.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you very much. All
Okay,
right.
thank you everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
nice
you.
seeing
Yes.
everyone.
Well done. And let him share the slides
Okay. Yeah.
also
I'll do that. I'll do that.
because it's easier.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well done.
Yeah.